Hey, professional creatives. I'd like to have a heart-to-heart with you for consideration. I own Brand Shepherd and ShepX, and I'm the creator of Vibe Tribe and Why. I've been in this for a long time. Started doing professional creative work in 1994, so I don't know, a while. Anyway, I want to talk about AI. I'm reading a lot of hot takes, and the hot takes basically come down to AI is slop, AI is stealing, AI is theft. And while I understand the spirit of that argument, I don't understand the logic of it, and it's actually quite misaligned with what's out there right now. And rather than talk to you about the specifics on that, I would rather talk to you about something that I observed in very early in my career in the early 90s, around 1990, 91. I was a 13-year-old freshman in high school, and I was touring the smoke filled rooms of physical paste up design departments for various printers and newspapers and stuff like that in the little city where I was going to high school. Because we were learning about the industrial arts and how we might pursue careers in those things down the road. And graphic design was one of them. And like I said at the time, 1990, early 1991, physical paste up was still happening, at least in the small Midwestern town that I was going to high school in. What I heard from professionals back then, and this really stuck with me, is they said, you're really not a graphic designer unless you're doing the physical paste up, unless you're physically setting type. You're not really an illustrator unless you're physically feeding the paint through the tubes, and you're not really a photographer unless you're running it through the chemicals, through the fixer, and determining the aperture and developing your own film and all this stuff. And you're just really not a creative if you put it through the Mac, because the Mac is essentially doing all the work for you. And so they complained, and they made sure that we all knew that if we used the Mac, we really weren't creatives. That was, in a sense, stealing, and we were not really what they were. They were up here, we were down here. Well, I ended up graduating from high school in 1994. And by that time, many of those people found themselves unemployed. That was an adapt or die moment where those people had a chance to adapt to the changes that had arrived in the profession of creative professionalism, or move on to something else. Many were forced into retirement. Many took on jobs in other industries altogether. I believe that's where we're at right now. Do I wish that things had continued on the way they had? Kinda. I don't sit and dream about typography. This is a fun way to make a living, and that's why I chose it. I'm not like dreaming about kerning type in my sleep and stuff like that. I see this very much as a utilitarian type of thing. And so I feel like in that sense, I'm very much qualified to talk about this because I'm not emotionally super duper invested in where this goes. I'm very much roll with the changes. So my message to fellow creatives is adapt or die. Adapt or get out of the way. This is happening whether you like it or not. AI is here. It's not going anywhere. Things are only going to progress in the direction that you see it going, and no amount of belly aching is going to change that. No amount of complaining, no amount of telling us that we're not really this or not really that. 5 years from now, if you haven't adapted, you will find yourself in another industry altogether. And some of you need that. Some of you are so salty and bitter. You need to get out of this profession because it's ripping your insides apart, and you're no longer really tied to the thing that made you get into this in the first place. So I think this could end up being really good for some of you to get back into the thing, professional creativity that got you into doing this in the first place. But please understand, we are definitely in an adapt or die situation. This is happening. AI is going to assist us in the creation of everything we're doing, and it's not going to change. And there's zero amount of complaining that's going to change that. So adapt, learn how to get AI into your workflows, learn to think about AI as something that amplifies our ideas instead of replaces our ideas. Understand that the AIs that exist out right now require human thought. They require a human to tell it what to do and what to think. Okay, the AIs don't exist yet in mass that are doing things for us. I don't wake up every morning to 7 agents that have created a website and an ad campaign and written copy and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't exist yet. And that's what many of you are reacting to. You're overreacting to it, if we're being honest. So take a breath, assess what's really going on, divorce yourself from your emotions as best you can, go for a hike, for a walk, and ask yourself, am I in a mental state right now where I can really feasibly adapt, or do I need to get out of this profession and start looking for a new career? Because AI is here. It's not going anywhere. It's adapt or die time.